And with To The Top's second core dropping around the time this video goes out, I am willing to bet that it will live up to its name and reach the top. I am willing to bet that it will live up to its name and reach the top. And reach the top. So, Haikyuu, To The Top. I mean, I was totally on the mark about part 2, right? Right? A few months ago, I created a video discussing some of the reasons that Haikyuu To The Top was a visual departure from its previous 3 seasons. After going over some of the key staff changes, I argued that the new style opened up opportunities for some phenomenal animation. And based on some of the amazing cuts from To The Top's first half, I was sure that Karasuno vs. Inarizaki would showcase the best that Production IG had to offer with its new team. But it's safe to say that it didn't quite turn out that way. In fact, this core had some of the worst looking episodes that Haikyuu has seen to date. I don't think I need to explain how the second episode of part 2 didn't live up to expectations, what with the inconsistent art that warped some characters' proportions to the point that it was distracting. Admittedly, some of the most exciting moments of this season were undercut due to less than stellar animation. If someone were to tell me that this match was not as exciting nor as gripping as Karasuno vs. Shiratorizawa or against Aoba Josai, I would completely understand. With that said, I don't want to harp too much on this part for a couple of reasons. First, the pandemic that shall not be named or YouTube will have a fit certainly played a part in this. Some of the episodes this season were outsourced to another studio known as Fortune, and they seem to be the culprit for a lot of the lower animation quality. For those that might be unaware, outsourcing is a common practice in anime production that is often used when a studio is working on a tight budget or schedule. Haikyuu To The Top Part 2 was supposed to air in July, but it got pushed back 3 months to October. And a lot of other animation studios suffered major delays as well, but it put Production IG in an especially tight spot since it had 3 shows airing in the fall. No doubt the studio was constrained for resources, and it reflected in how Haikyuu To The Top looks compared to previous seasons. Disregarding the art style for 1 second, seasons 1 through 3 benefited from a stellar production team given adequate time to deliver the best when it counted. I've got to emphasize this point. It's already rare that we get anime of such high quality across multiple seasons. And with a 3-year gap between Season 3 and Season 4 prompting staff changes, it was inevitable that it might not live up to the same expectations. Now for the second reason. Honestly, taking away the work of Studio Fortune, this season still looked pretty good from my perspective. Now let me make it very clear, I prefer how Haikyuu was animated prior to Season 4 because I'm a sucker for art with thick outlines, lanky characters, and Asahi's beautiful hairline. Even then, the second core of To The Top had a lot of cool moments. One of them came from Tanaka with his insane cross shot that turned the tide of the game and turned Bokuta's frown upside down. Here I loved how they emphasized animating Tanaka and Rintaro's hands, adding even more weight to that moment. The sequence building up to Hinata's receive also deserves a lot of praise. Whether or not it's animated in a way that suits your preferences, they play around with Hinata's body proportions to highlight the dead-eyed accuracy of his positioning before it falls into his arms in a way that would be extremely difficult to pull off. And even before that, I was floored by this one cut of Ojiro Aran repositioning himself after Osamu's set before jumping, given how they animated his small fidgets, with the camera work giving it a lot more flair. I can't say that a lot of the animation from To The Top left as much of an impression on me as past seasons, but I really did think that the animation this season, disregarding Fortune, was genuinely great. No doubt that it got overshadowed by the top-tier productions of Jujutsu Kaisen, Akudama Drive, and Great Pretender when it aired, and I may or may not have a video planned about one of those series in the near future, but that doesn't undermine where it managed to shine. And it also doesn't mean that it isn't susceptible to criticism. The production could vary significantly from episode to episode, and those variances often looked worse than better. And as a manga reader, some moments weren't done the same justice. The one I'm thinking of is Asahi's 100% serve that was extremely underwhelming in the show because it felt like he was hitting a balloon instead of a volleyball. It's hard to explain, and I don't know how else to put into words. At the end of the day though, what we did get was more Haikyuu. For the first couple episodes, I was pretty disappointed with how the season was turning out when I watched it weekly. And as I've started to scroll through the episodes again for this video, I gained a newfound appreciation for the work that was put on display. While the most exciting moments didn't quite match the same highs visually compared to past seasons, it was the smaller moments with some of its characters, like Kenma and Kita, who cemented themselves as two of my favorite characters in the entire series. Kenma was already cool, but Season 4 imbued him with so much more life in his expressions and interactions that weren't there before. Whether intentionally or not, the scenes that stuck with me the most were those removed entirely from the volleyball match. The scenes of Dr. Freeze coming to the rescue, Atsumu and Osamu bickering over each other while Rinchiro is taking some great photos for Instagram, and Kita crying over becoming the captain. Beautifully drawn still frames, fantastic voice acting, godly music from Yuki Hayashi and Asami Tachibana, and other elements of Haikyuu's production are what had me coming back each and every week. But most importantly, this latest season still brought the same energy and managed to captivate a lot of people around the world, even if it wasn't to your preference. So from an animation perspective, I can understand the disappointment in how To the Top turned out and echo quite a few of those concerns. However, this season also cemented my appreciation for Haikyuu as a series, and it's one that I still continue to think about, and one that underscores some of the best that anime has to offer. I think I am speaking for Haikyuu fans when I express a sincere hope that Haikyuu will get to see a complete adaptation to the very end. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. But also, I have an even bigger thank you for those who watched my previous video on Haikyuu. At the time I am recording this, I did see that it managed to hit 1,000 views and 100 likes on YouTube, and given the size of my channel, I can't express how grateful I am that people managed to watch the video and were willing to share it with friends even when I wasn't uploading any videos in the past few months. Reading some of the comments on that video really inspired me to get back into making videos for YouTube, and you can be sure that I'll be uploading more frequently in the near future. In fact, I have a video coming up this week about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, where I'll be giving my personal picks on who I think should win each category, just in time for the awards show on Friday. So please look forward to that. Anyways, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Sakamui if you enjoyed this content and want to see more from me in the future. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go join Kita in the locker room because he's such a precious boy and he looks like he needs a hug. Thank you all for watching again, and I will see you all next time.